I am Ash from the Dragon system.
Hello, I am Rune from the Castor system.
And we both have DID. It's a psychological disorder that is from a coping mechanism, from trauma between the ages of 3 and 9. And this is an introductory to DID.
You can see us both being very awkward, but you know what? That's how we are, and we're not going to edit out our awkwardness because we are awkward as people.
This YouTube channel is going to be to educate and to help other systems. It's going to be uncut videos of us just talking about subjects that need to be talked about. Like, for instance, what is DID? A better showing of it is DID 1 comes from extreme trauma as a child. It's a coping mechanism that your brain comes up with to show or to help you deal with the things that you are going through.
If you're going through something that is too intense and too traumatic for a child to deal with because it is a childhood or originating disorder. Is that a word? I don't think
Yes.
so. Yes, okay. It is a childhood originating disorder. If a child is going through trauma that is too intense for them to handle, their brain may, not always, obviously there are a lot of people that have gone through trauma that don't have DID, but their brain may split off and create another person, another self, to step in and take the place of the original host so that they can be protected from whatever is going on.
These other personalities are called alters. And depending on what you go through in life, you can go your entire life only having one alter, one other person in your what's called system. When you develop DID, it's called a system of different alters in your body. Every time that you experience another extreme trauma or trauma, and even sometimes with extreme stress, your brain will split itself again, making another new alter to help you deal with those situations. I personally have a system of 35 plus. I am a bigger system because I've dealt with a lot of trauma and stress in my life.
I am a system of 5, so there are only 5 of us, but I do split relatively often because I go through a lot of stress. That's just because I have anxiety.
And DID is not a joke. It's not something to have because it's trendy. It's not something you could just develop. It happens when you are young and it stays with you for your entire life. It doesn't just go away from medication or therapy. It stays with you.
However, from certain types of therapy, you can choose to integrate, but that is something that if you want to integrate an entire system, not only does it have to be consented to by all of the alters, but it also changes you as a person. So integration can be, I mean, we're probably going to touch on that in an entirely different video, but integration basically is like merging a bunch of colors together, and merging those colors together, you get a brand new color, so none of you are going to be the same person after integration.
Yeah. So, dissociative identity disorder, or as we will touch up in another video, there's also OSDD, other specified dissociative disorders. These other specified dissociative disorders is a less talked about one because it happens less rarely, because with DID you get the amnesia of not being present while your alters have taken control of the body. With OSDD there's a lot more of everyone is conscious all the time, so the host sees everything and understands and remembers everything, which is why that is a less talked about system from these traumatic things.
Less talked about, but no less valid.
Oh yes. That is a big thing. No matter if you are different from any other system ever, like if you see big systems on YouTube and they're different from you with switches or with how they present and different things like that, it does not make you less valid. Your numbers don't make you less valid. If you experience trauma and you know that you are a system, you are valid. No matter if you're doubting yourself or not, you are valid.
And I mean, hey, even if someday you figure out, oh wait, I actually don't have DID, then thinking you did and living as if you did, that's still a coping mechanism that your brain and that you needed to use in order to get you through something. So even if on the very, very if you decide or you realize at some point that you don't actually have it, that is not a bad thing, and that does not mean that you are a trender or that you are trying to do it because it is trendy. It just means that it is a tool that you needed to use to help you cope through something that you were going on with your life.
Yep. So
what is life like with DID?
We should probably do that.
You right?
So, oh, I just have completely blanked. This is not going well.
The topic of integration, a lot of systems choose not to integrate. So you can find, I mean,
Well,
you don't.
We should probably do a full video integration.
Oh yeah, no. Of course we should do a different video on integration, but like the systems who don't integrate, you don't see them on the media very often when it comes to elderly people with DID, but because it never just goes away on its own, they do exist, and it does happen, and there are a lot of adults that have DID, and there are a lot of kids that have DID because it is a childhood originating disorder. I'm just gonna keep saying that, aren't I?
1 to 3% of the world has been shown to have DID.
Which
The
means
the recorded amount of people in the world is 1 to 3% who have DID or OSDD, which is the same amount of people that have green eyes. So
or red hair.
think about the amount of people you've met with green eyes or red hair. You've probably met the same amount of people with DID who just haven't said anything or never came out to you as a system.
Coming out as a system is a pretty hard thing to do because it is such a complex disorder, and the amount of that it has been demonized in the media. Think of Split, for example. That has probably been coming up in your head a lot throughout this video. How much is it like Split? Or how much do people think it's like Split? A lot of people assume that it is the same, but it is very much not a good movie to show how DID actually works.
Better, like, small, it's not supposed to be a video about DID, but a better version of a movie that you can think about to represent DID is the Disney movie Inside Out.
Yeah, I mean, besides the fact that we're not specifically made to represent emotions, and that we don't all have a little control desk on the inside, and that we can actually front and take over the body, Inside Out is a much better representation of DID.
And the reason why alters aren't made to specifically act to certain emotions, it's because alters are their own people. They are real people. They experience things a way a person would. They are real people that just have to live inside one body. It's multiple people sharing one body.
There are other alters that aren't fully people. Those are called fragments. Those are alters that could be created to hold onto a specific memory and nothing more than that, or a specific very strong emotion and nothing more than that. I wouldn't call them rarer, but you don't really see them as often because a lot of the time they can't front because they aren't fully fledged alters.
Mm-hmm. Like, some of them can just be made for doorkeepers, and doorkeepers are just to control who's fronting the body at certain times. And fronting, what we say fronting is, it's when someone is controlling the body. It's when someone is, like, I would say that I'm fronting right now. I'm controlling the body. I'm speaking, moving the body. I am the one using the body right now. If I were to switch and someone else decided to take over the body, then they would be fronting.
What's the difference between a normal alter and the host?
The host, well, people have different definitions for the host. But there's the host and the core, and sometimes those are the same thing. The core is the person who was born with the body, the person who identifies with the body. And sometimes that is the same thing as the host. Other times it's not. Some other times the host is just whoever is fronting in the body most and controls the body the most.
The one who controls most of the things about everyday life.
Yeah.
Being the host is kind of wacky, to be honest.
Yeah.
Alright, I think we've covered most of the things that would be covered in a normal introduction video, plus some more.
Plus some more, because we rambled on a little bit.
It's
But this has been a rambled on introductory to DID and to our system channel. We are the DID babies. I am the Dragon System.
And I am the Castor system.
And bye-bye.